So welcome everybody. I'm Athea Davis. I'm a mindfulness educator. I'm the author of today's going to be Awesome Sauce daily. Did I say that right? My brain's all over the place, but today's going to be Awesome Sauce daily meditations for youth, parents, and families. And so tonight's theme is all about, Tracy, is all about getting grounded. And in full transparency, if we think about stress level at a 10, which is like you are about, like you're flipping your lid, and 1 is probably you're asleep. So when you do, a meditation or a mindfulness practice or yoga, what you're shooting for is something like a 3 or 4, where you feel good, you feel alert. I'm probably like a 7.5 to an 8 right now. School days are crazy. Many of you are educators, and it feels like a word came to me today. My days this school year, it feels like as soon as I step my foot on the campus ground, it's relentless. And what I do on the campus is I teach yoga and mindfulness to young people. And yet that's still that sort of like that stress level is always up here. There are like 1,000 different things that are happening and questions, and you guys get it, right? Like this is happening in your schedules every day. And so I thought, wow, how am I going to teach a practice on groundedness? And I feel like I'm a 7.5 to an 8. And I thought this is actually really perfect because we can co-walk through this together. It's something what I was just sharing with Tracy right before we officially hit record, is that some of the practices I'm going to introduce to you today, maybe you're familiar with them or maybe not, but I use them throughout my day and just thread them through any moment that I am, feeling like I'm going to go above an 8, because it sometimes feels like at school, that's kind of where we're at least how my days have been. And at least so I can stay in that state and not go above that. And, always trying to go a little bit below. So tonight's theme is about getting grounded. Are y'all ready to get some calm vibes on, get some groundedness? Yeah, me too. This might be like the first deep breath, other than when I was teaching classes today to the amazing young people, that I feel like there aren't like 1,000 little voices in the background, or moving around. But to get started, I would love for you to just come to a seated position. You can be in your chair or you can be on the floor. I am just going to come to a seated position. I'm going to switch the cross of my legs because I had them crossed one way and I'd like to cross them another. And I want to show you this picture as we get started. We're going to, I'm going to try to get pretty close. This is just a picture. It's a watercolor picture of the earth. And this is from a deck of mine. It's an Arts and Affirmation deck. And also called today is going to be Awesome Sauce. The affirmation on the back of this card, so I'll read it for you. It says, "Through the chaos of everyday life, I will stand strong and tall and feel the earth support me." And so when we do some of our yoga postures, we're definitely going to do some grounded feet. That's something that I use constantly. But we're not standing yet, so I do want you to sit nice and tall and close your eyes. You can place your hands either on your knees right now, on your thighs, or on your heart. In a moment, I'll ask you all to take your hands on your heart. And I just want you to start to notice your breath. You do not need to breathe in any special way. But perhaps for the first time today, if you've been at a 7.5 or 8 or above, maybe you're just now listening to that gentle rhythm, taking an inhale and taking an exhale. And allow your breath to be your anchor through our opening meditation practice. As you connect to just the sound and gentle movement of your breath, I want you to just soften into your being right now. Perhaps even start taking your attention beyond your breath to any tension that you feel in any part of the body. And intentionally, with your breath, send it there to soften into those constricted spaces. Reminding you to just take a little sit of coming to nice and tall through your sit bones all the way through the crown of your head. So grow tall. And then start bringing special attention to your breath. We're going to slowly deepen it and elongate the inhale through the nose. Feeling the chest and belly rise. And then exhale slowly out of your mouth right now. In these next couple rounds of mindful breaths, I just want you to imagine your breath as it softens the tension, that you're letting it go with your breath. So let's do 2 more. Just taking that elongated breath on the inhale. And then exhale slowly out of your mouth. Letting it go. And taking 1 more here with the inhale through the nose. And then exhale through the mouth, letting any tension, let it go. Stay there with your eyes closed. And I want you to start breathing with an inhale through your nose, and then an exhale through your nose, and then double stack your hands onto your heart space. Just bringing a little bit of gentle compression to your chest. Noticing that support. Noticing the gentle rise of your chest on your inhale and the gentle fall on the exhale. So reminding you to stay tall, taking your chin behind your heart behind your hips. Spread your toes to keep your feet active. Relax your shoulders away from your ears. Just imagining that they're just melting away from your ears. And as you spread your toes, press into the ball of your foot and really connect with your bottom on the floor or on the chair, feeling connected and supported from the ground, from the earth below you. Feeling connected and supported with the gentle compression of your hands on your heart space. And in a moment, you're going to repeat this affirmation after me silently to yourself. We'll have a few quiet, gentle breaths together. On your next inhale, take a big one in, because silently you're going to repeat after me. Through the chaos of everyday life, I will stand strong and tall and feel the earth support me. Stay there with your breath, visually seeing yourself lifted and lengthened, steady, supported, and safe. Take a few more deep breaths, just noticing if you have any other spaces in your body or in your jaw, in your feet, hands, anywhere in your body. And again, bring your breath there and soften into those spaces. Just allow the tension to melt away with each exhale. Taking 1 more here. I'm going to count down from 3, and we're going to gently open our eyes. In 3, 2, and 1. You can release your hands from your heart space and bring them to your knees. You can change the cross of your legs just briefly. We're actually going to move here in just a moment. I'm going to try to put my phone by the speaker here on my computer for my chillax song. Nice grounding music. We'll see how well you can hear it. Some songs are quieter, I should say, in terms of their instrumental appeal. Some a little bit louder. Can you hear that okay? Thumbs up if you can. Okay. I don't want it to be too loud and annoying. Okay, in that same fashion, we are gonna do some grounding yoga postures. So if you're in a chair, you can just come by your chair. If you're on a mat, I'm gonna step back to see if you can see my whole body and then adjust myself here on the mat. Sorry about that. My head's cut off. It's always fun with these, getting the tech right. Nothing too aggressive in terms of postures, but I would love for you to come to standing. There we go. I think I got it. I think you guys can see me. So I want you to take your feet about hips width apart. This is something that you use all the time, probably like 100 times a day, is grounded feet. And also the grounded sit that we just did, just feeling connected and supported by the earth. And this is something, again, such a useful tool. So whether you have shoes on or off, most of the time we're walking around campus with our shoes on, but just taking a moment to really root down through your feet, making sure your feet are about hips width apart. You can always take your feet up, even when they're in your shoes and your socks, and then take them toe down, one toe at a time, and your arms by your sides. And also with the hands on the heart. So up to you, if you'd rather have them right now with hands on heart. So many times I might be teaching like this with one hand on my heart, just to remind myself to stay present in my body, especially during those really wild, chaotic times. But right now I'm just going to demonstrate the arms by my side. Closing your eyes, rooting down through your feet. And again, take a little rock through your heels, and then a slight rock forward onto your toes, and then one more rock back where you feel your weight rooting down through your heels. And you can lift your toes just a bit so you know that most of the weight's going through there, and place your toes back down onto the mat. And we're just going to combine some breath with gentle movement. We're going to inhale, taking our arms up, reaching up towards the sky, and then exhale, just nice and slowly bringing them down towards your toes. Relax your head down. Take it nice and easy, and then inhale, coming all the way back up to Tadasana. So right here, arms by the side. So I want to do that just a couple more times, just to kind of move some energy around before we work on some standing poses to really get grounded here. All right, root down through your feet. Inhale, reach the palms up. You can take your gaze up if you want. And then exhale, allow the arms to come all the way down towards the floor. Relax your head. Inhale, slowly coming back to Tadasana. Last one, taking the arms all the way up, Urdhva Hastasana, so these upward facing arms. And then exhale, we're going to take them all the way back down towards the floor, nice and slowly. Uttanasana, our forward fold. And here, coming to Ardha Uttanasana, that halfway lift. Exhale, folding again. And then slowly inhale, reaching up. And this time I just want you to come back to standing mountain. And then as you exhale, relax your shoulders. Take these hands back to your heart space, double stacking. Rock back through your heels and hook up your toes, one toe at a time. Place your toes down, one at a time. I want you to intentionally feel each and every toe. A practice to come out of our busy mind and into our body. Just noticing as we're very intentional with our attention, what comes up for us? What are we noticing inside? What emotion, what sensation? No judgment, we're just taking an internal inventory. One more breath here with your hands on your heart. And then exhale slowly, either out of your nose or mouth, doesn't matter. And then arms come by your side. We're gonna work through just a series of standing postures.
Athea, can we turn off the music? Your voice is kind of going really low and high.
Yeah, the music. I turned it down. Can you hear me okay now? Or turn it all the way off?
I don't know if that's what's making your voice kind of get, yeah, let's just try off.
We'll try that. Can you hear me okay now? Okay. Probably the music got kind of loud. So we're gonna start just in that Tadasana position. And we're gonna take a step back with our right leg. So any postures that we can do to get grounded and rooted through our feet are gonna help bring our energy from way up here and down. But with our arms, again, I wanna focus with that gentle compression. And so bring the hands back to the heart space. Your front knee is at 90 degrees. So just take a quick look, making sure your knee is all the way in alignment with your ankle. And if you walk like 15,000 steps a day, this might feel really good right now. Take a big breath in, and then exhale slowly out. Now, your breathing choice, I always want you to inhale through your nose. You can exhale out of your nose for Ujjayi breath, or you can just exhale out of your mouth. Always breathe through the nose on a deep inhale, and slowly exhale. Stay nice and steady. You might notice a little burn or just notice different parts of your muscles you haven't felt all day. It's all right. To me, these are some of my favorite because I can slow down and really feel what's going on inside of me instead of running around like crazy, moving too fast. I want to slow it down. All right, bring the hands back by your side and then bring your back foot to meet your top foot. Inhale, bring your arms up, Urdhva Hastasana. And then exhale, just bring them back to Tadasana. We're gonna do that same pose, a warrior, Virabhadrasana 1 with a different arm variation. So left leg back, right leg forward, bend your right knee aligned to your right ankle. Make sure you're nice and tall up here. I feel all kinds of things like, wow, this feels great. And I've been working with the kiddos doing all different kinds of yoga today, but it's a different experience. So take your hands to your heart. If you would like to really go internally and you feel really steady, you can close your eyes. If you do not feel steady, just take your eyes to a focal point. A stationary object, it's not moving, and stay anchored to your breath. Reminding yourself to take gentle inhale and a gentle exhale, remembering to inhale through the nose and then exhale through the nose or mouth. Keep the shoulders softened. I'm taking one more here. I'm going to try it with my eyes closed. Feels so awesome. You can release the palms from your heart, bring them back to your side, step your left foot to meet your right. Come back to that Tadasana position and just kind of wiggle your toes. And make sure your feet are about hips width apart. Spreading your toes, bringing your toes down one toe at a time. Scoot back a bit. And then inhale, reach your arms up. Urdhva Hastasana. And this time, so I'm going to turn to the side. I just want you to open your heart space just a bit. So heart is forward, a little bit of just a baby back bend here, nothing too big. Relax your shoulders. Nice. And then we're going to exhale and just float the arms down all the way to Uttanasana, your forward fold. Bend your knees if you're like me and run and walk a lot. My hamstrings are always tight. So you want to make sure your ribs are resting on your thighs. I'm going to turn to the side and your palms are flat. Just take a few gentle breaths here. Feeling the earth support your feet, support your whole being, your whole body. And then inhale, come to Ardha Uttanasana, halfway lift, with a nice, flat, straight back there. Should feel a really nice tension release in the backs of the legs. And then you're gonna exhale and release all the way to the floor again. And then slowly inhale, come up. This time just to Tadasana, arms by your side, and then exhale. All right, let's do a little bit. We're gonna do one more standing posture, a balance pose, and then we're gonna bring the energy down to the mat by bringing our whole body down. So I just want you to notice the intentionality that we're not like flowing here, there, and everywhere. We really want to bring the energy to a calming, grounded space. So we want to be nice and steady and intentional about each pose. I hope you are feeling that inside of your body. We're going to do Vikrasana, tree pose, one of my favorites, and another that is just, when I'm ready to get grounded and I need a little bit of focus, my mind might be all over the place, this is one that I love to do. So like I teach my students, you can take a phase that works for you right now with the foot. Doesn't matter which leg, but if you'd like to start the side I'm on my left leg, getting nice and rooted through my left foot, right foot on the ankle, to the calf, or to the inner thigh. Now, here's where we want to take and make sure that your right knee is all the way out to the right and push with your right foot to your inner thigh or calf or to your ankle. Stay nice and steady. I like to say either you can grow your tree branches out nice and tall and long, or you can keep your tree branches in with the hands on heart. So pick the one that you'd like. I'm going to do it here. This is my favorite. I even sleep like this with my hands on my heart. Sometimes I even sleep in tree pose style, like this, but supine, lying flat. Feeling the gentle sway in your balance, but also the support below you. Stay steady with your breath, and when your mind wanders, just anchor it back, noticing the gentle rise and fall. And then exhale, release. And just shake it out, kind of wiggle your toes and your fingers again, and then inhale, bringing the arms up, Ardha Hastasana again, and then exhale, release, arms all the way back to the side into Tadasana. So we'll do tree pose other side, pick whatever phase that you'd like. Maybe one side you want to do a different phase. I call it phase 1, 2, and 3. I'm going to do the other side, phase 3. Once you're here, then take your knee, and to really be intentional with each movement. Sometimes I even like to take my heel that's pressing into my thigh and like do a little fascia release by pressing my heel into my inner thigh groin area. Again, if you do biking or running or a lot of walking and you have a lot of tightness in your muscles, that should feel really good. Okay, hands here to the heart space or out here. So keep your branches out wide or bring them in. Stay nice and tall. Gentle breath here. And again, like even if you're in the midst of class, and you're dealing with maybe a crazy situation, it seems kind of silly, but just taking a tree pose can help you stay in your body to notice what's happening, and you can release, so we're not going up a level in our stress or going to like a 10 and flipping our lid. Though it happens sometimes. And so we have these practices to bring us back down. Inhale, reach your arms up. And then exhale. This time we're going to bring it all the way down to Uttanasana. And inhale, Ardha Uttanasana. And then exhale, fold again, Uttanasana. Inhale, reaching up. Urdhva Hastasana, and then exhale, bringing it back to Tadasana. We'll do one more standing pose. So we're going to do Trikonasana, a triangle. So you can take a wide stance, about 3 to 4 feet. Turn your left toes 90 degrees. Keep your legs straight. And I like to think about pinning my right hip to the wall. Instead of jutting it forward, if that's what's happening, it's like you just stuck a little push pin and it's stuck here to the wall. Your arms are going to come out to a T. You're going to inhale and reach through your left fingertips and allow your left hand just to come to your shin. Right arm comes up. Nice and slow and steady. I like to take my eyes and my gaze towards the floor. It just takes a lot of the tension out of the neck. Also feels really nice. Noticing any tension in your legs or arms, and just sending your breath there to soften the space. And then inhale, using your core to come back up. Keep your arms straight. Exhale your arms down. Turn your left toes in. Keep your legs just in that V shape. So we're going to do the other side. So I already feel, I just keep checking in with myself after each pose, like, how do I feel now? Where I was like, my energy was buzzing at like a 7.5, 8.5. I can't recall what I said earlier, but it was high, where I already feel like, I'm like at a 6, maybe a 5.5. Turn your right toes out 90 degrees. Press through your feet. So you're just trying to imagine like you're pressing the earth away from you. Very active legs. Arms come to a T shape. Really active through the arms, your whole body. Inhale, reach through your right fingertips. Reach, reach, reach. And then right arm's going to come down, or right hand to your right shin. Left arm comes up. Try to keep your left arm, right arm in alignment. Oh my goodness, this one feels so good on the inner thigh muscles, inner groin muscles. Keep your legs straight. I'm going to take my gaze down. You can take it up or down. Much more calming to take the gaze down towards the floor, and definitely less tension in the neck area. And just allowing ourselves permission to slow down. Sometimes it feels like, my gosh, we have like 1,000 things to do. Why would I want to do this? Why? Because it feels amazing and can keep us nice and steady, and a little joy through the chaos, a little support, a little groundedness through the day. Inhale, coming back up, turn your right toes in. Exhale, your arms come down. You can heel toe your feet together, coming back to a mountain or Tadasana position. Inhale our arms up. Now we're going to bring our whole body to the mat. So as we exhale down, we're going to come to Uttanasana. Inhale. You're going to do Ardha Uttanasana. I'm going to turn so you can see what I'm doing, and then you're going to exhale back with the knees down. And bring your palms flat. So in a table position. And you're going to drop the belly. Widen the collarbone forward into cow pose. And then take a big breath in here. And then exhale, coming into cat pose, really pressing as you bring the belly button up towards the spine. Feels so good to all my muscles. Let's do 2 more. Inhale as you gaze forward. Just allowing the belly to completely relax, taking any tension out of your jaw. Exhale, come to cat pose. Maybe place your tongue between your teeth. Another practice I love to do is taking my tongue between my teeth to release tension in my jaw. Inhale, cow. And then exhale, coming to cat pose. From here, you're going to inhale back to table. You're going to take the knees wide, big toes to touch, coming to Balasana into a child's pose. Now, before you come all the way down, be really intentional about where your hips are. So press through your palms, bring your belly button up and in, press more until your hips can reach towards your heels or getting closer. Then start inching your arms out more. And then relax your forehead down. You should feel a really nice release here in the back and the neck. Take 3 deep breaths here. Perhaps noticing the belly rise on your thighs. And then exhale, release. One more. And then inhale slowly. Come up to a hero's pose or Virasana. So your knees are wide. So in a hero's pose, you want to take the knees together, bottom on your heels. So we're going to do this now. I was thinking about, you know what, how many times that we're walking a day. And I learned this from Christina Sell. It's awesome. There's no like amazing name to call this other than we're going to do something called some calf smashing. It feels terrible, but good at the same time. You know, one of those feels when you're like trying to get all the kinks out of your muscles and you're like, oh, that hurts, but feels so good. It's one of those. But before we do, I want to stretch out our feet. We're on our feet a lot. So you're going to curl your toes and take the weight back through your heels. Palms come to your thighs. Sit tall. It's uncomfortable, but doable. We're just going to be here 3 breaths. So sit with the discomfort. Try to be with it. We're going to be here 1 more breath. You got it. And then exhale, gently release. Just come back to the hero's pose and then spread your toes. You feel all your toenails on the floor. Okay, so for the calf muscles, you're going to take your shin bone on the right side. So your right shin bone is going to come to the crease. They call it the soleus of your calf muscle. So I'm picking up, I should have not worn black pants. It's probably hard to see. But take your shin bone and you take it to the crease of your left calf. You're going to control the intensity. So I have both of my hands on the floor right now. And I'm going to slowly bring my bottom towards my heels. You may notice I'm not going very far and this is really uncomfortable. That's okay. I also like to turn my wrists around so my fingers are facing my feet. You do not have to do that, but you can. And then as I sit back, if you want to take it up a notch, you can imagine almost like this sawing action going back and forth as you work the cross fibers in your calf muscle. And you might discover, holy moly, I have all this tension in my calf you didn't have before. And it is one of those things that if you release tension in your calf muscle, it's gonna impact your legs and your body all the way up. Often a space we don't typically think about, especially if we're not like a runner or anything like that, but it's definitely worth giving yourself a little space in the morning or the evening to release tension here. Okay, we're gonna release that. Come back to hero's pose. And sit nice and tall. Did you guys feel the intensity of that? Like, give me a thumbs up if you did. Okay. So, and you can keep your thumbs up if you're like, yes, it was uncomfortable, but good. Like a good release. Okay, awesome. Because it's supposed to be, I don't want you to think like it's amazing, but it's like uncomfortable amazing. Okay, let's do the other side. So I'm going to turn this way. And you're going to take your opposite shin bone. I think I used my right shin bone before, but I'm going to use my left shin bone. And I can already put my shin bone on there, and then I'm going to turn my hands because I like to get that stretch in my wrist. That's why I'm turning my fingers. I know you can't see on the video, but I like to turn my fingers towards my toes to really get that stretch in my forearm and my wrist. And then you can control the intensity. Once you're there, you can kind of rock back and forth and play around with different spots in your calf and how much you can go with releasing tension as you do that cross fiber action. Woo. I need like an hour of this. Okay. and then release. All right, coming back to hero's pose. We're gonna do one more stretch in the feet. This is also really amazing. So I'll start on this side. So we're gonna take basically the top bone on our foot called the navicular bone. It's that really bony part on the top of your foot. And you're gonna take it and slide it into the arch of the opposite foot. So right now I'm taking my right navicular bone, putting it in the arch of my left foot. Wow, you're gonna feel it maybe like right like I am. And once you're there, just like you were doing with your calf muscle, go back and forth in that like really meaty part of your foot. It's one of those things that just hurt but feels so good. We typically just neglect and don't think about how tension in these parts of our body can cause tension everywhere else. So many times when I'm feeling tension in my shoulders and I've done all the things, I remember, okay, go do the calf smashing, go do the work in your feet, and that will definitely provide some of the release. All right, come back to hero's pose. And then I'm gonna turn around and we're gonna do the other side. You do not have to turn, just so you can see me better. Take the opposite top of your foot and put in the arch of your left foot. You can also do the wrist stretch here where the fingers are facing the toes and then go back. So you get a little stretch in your wrists and your forearms. And do that cross fiber action. And then release. Come back to hero's pose. We're gonna stretch it out in downward facing dog. And then we'll bring it to a seated position. And then we'll close out the movement portion. But go ahead and come to a table position with the palms flat, fingers spread wide, curl your toes. We just did a lot of work in our feet, so be really gentle when you come up. You're gonna exhale, lay back through your heels. And you can inhale up towards your tippy toes and just take it one heel down at a time, just to release any tension in your legs. Maybe take an exhale out of your mouth. And slowly exhale. And then release by taking the knees down. Almost like you're going into hero's pose, but you're not. Cross at the ankles, come back to a seated meditation position, Sukhasana. Whew. Let me change this a bit here so you can see me a bit more. Ooh, that felt so good. I hope you were enjoying that. So we're gonna do a couple seated postures. I want you to take your, I know I just said Sukhasana, but I was thinking about all the work that we did. And I didn't add this one to the sequence, but I thought, you know what, like actually last minute I do wanna do it. So let's go to Baddha Konasana with the feet together. And I want you to start with the heels, not too close, but not too far from your pubic bone area. I like to teach students to take their hands to their ankles and really get a nice grip and then flex your toes back towards your heels and sit nice and tall and then press. Now press your feet together, including your toes. And once you start feeling some release, then you can start intensifying by bringing the heels closer to your pubic bone. If you're like, nope, I'm good, stay where you are. And then you can work on taking the knees closer to the earth, sitting nice and tall. Release your hands from your ankles, and then we're gonna try to inch them out in front of us. You go to your gentle edge here. Once you're there, relax your head down. We're gonna walk our hands on an inhale to the right. And then exhale back to center. Inhale, walk your hands to the left. Exhale back to center. And then inhale, slowly come up. Help your knees together. Right, palms on the outsides of your thighs. Now come to the Sukhasana pose. I have my right foot in front of my left shin. You're gonna inhale, take your left arm up, all the way to your right knee, right fingertips behind. Spread your toes, root down through your bottom, through your sit bones, and just take your gaze over your right shoulder. Maybe close your eyes here. And exhale back to center. But this time I want you to switch the cross of your legs again, with left foot in front of right shin. Raise your right hand up and reach, and exhale, bring your right palm to your left knee, left fingertips behind. Spread your toes, activate through your feet, and just gaze over your left shoulder. I love this seated twist, especially for the stretch and your shoulder muscles. If you have a lot of tension there, this one will be really good, which I have a lot of tension there too. And then exhale, coming back to center. So what we're gonna do, double pigeon by stacking the shins as if they were two parallel lines stacked on top of each other. So you want your right toes on your right foot on top, toes in alignment with your left knee. If your knee's way up high, that's fine, don't push it down. And then you want to try to relax your knee down. It'll only go so far as you relax into it and as your body is capable of doing in that moment. Okay, so don't push it down. Left toes in alignment with your right knee. Palms by your sides or by your hips. Sit nice and tall, big breath in. Notice any tension in your right hip. You want to imagine your hip bone extending to the right, away from the hip socket and lengthening. That will help get your right knee down, so lengthening. And then we're gonna take our palms in front of us, and just like we were doing in Baddha Konasana, we're gonna inch forward. Now you come to your edge, this may be it. If you want to take your palms further, then you can take your forehead all the way down or not. And if you're here, you can relax down, or you can relax all the way to the floor. And then you're going to inhale gently, rise up. And then we're going to switch. We'll do that opposite side. Left foot comes to the top. Allow your knee to relax. And again, that same lengthening in the left hip. So if you notice, like if you take your attention there and you're like, what does she mean by that cue? Just notice what's going on with your left hip. Any tension? You can definitely send your breath there, but you want to visualize. So when we think about biomechanical cues, you want to visualize your femur bone going into your hip joint, right? So there's that joint there, and that you're lengthening your femur bone away from the midline of your body. So just lengthening your femur bone is going to open up some space in your left hip to allow your knee to relax towards the floor. I know I felt like I just got another inch of space there. And then take your palms in front of you. Take your chest up and then exhale, slowly come down. And then inhale, slowly come up. And then exhale, release. We're going to close with a few breaths in just a seated meditation pose, just like we started. Let's go ahead and take your hands to your heart space. And close your eyes and sit up nice and tall. Coming back to our intention of getting grounded in the chaos. Allowing the earth to support us through these times. Chaos isn't going away. It is a part of life. But we can transform and adapt our relationship to it. Be more present, more resilient, bringing more kind awareness to those situations. As we release tension from our body, helps us release tension from our mind, from our thoughts, from our words. from our actions. Go ahead and steep yourself in that sense of being grounded, despite everything else going on, despite the 1,000 windows that may be open or populating, as our minds like to do. Bring it back to the support that you feel with the hands, your hands on your heart, the support of the earth below you. Stay there with your eyes closed. And I'm going to close with a reading. So stay with any breathing pattern that feels good to you. This is called Getting Grounded in Chaos. Staying connected to chaos can be addicting. We desire the feeling of the adrenaline rush, and in this process, we can lose control. But if we practice groundedness in chaos, we can develop a healthy, enduring habit that will ultimately guide our families to be more loving and kind in intense situations and challenges. When things get chaotic, perhaps the situation calls for a deep breath, what I call a ha breath, because it sounds like we are breathing out the word ha. You inhale long, slow, and deep breaths through the nose, and exhale long, slow, deep breaths out of the mouth. And try it a few times during chaotic moments and notice how you feel. Or feel the earth support you when you root down through your feet or through your bottom, or by pressing your hands onto your art space. And other times, just like I was saying, we have to combine that breath with movement in our body to help us calm down. When we bring our bodies closer to the earth, it helps calm the chaos too. I'm going to count down from 3 and slowly open your eyes in 3, 2, and 1. Something I want us to reflect on as we close our time together tonight is just taking a moment, taking some internal inventory on what do we notice right now. We can think back to where we were when we came. As I was sharing, I felt like I was in a 7 or 8. And where's our energy now? If 10 is the highest stress, most stressful that we are, checking in, what number would you give yourself? And I'm just gonna throw that out there to you guys. If anybody would love to kind of share, and you don't have to, no pressure. So true. And you know what I love about you sharing this experience with your students too, what's great is students are so curious naturally, many of them, and they might ask, what are you doing? You know, and you can, you know, do that positive narration about what you're doing, why you're doing it. And our kids learn so much more from us practicing what we're teaching than if I were just teaching them a pose and they see me doing it, like, oh, well, that must be meaningful. I'm going to try that. And so you could start a whole trend. I don't know, you know, when you feel upset, time to strike a tree pose. That's one of many of my students. They have to strike that the tree pose. But indeed, it is something. Oftentimes we think we have to be on a mat in a formal setting like this to receive that benefit. And many times it just looks like doing it anywhere, everywhere you are. It doesn't matter what anybody else is thinking or doing, because it's the shift that you want, right? It's a shift that you need. And that shift isn't just what's happening to you, because when you shift internally, everybody else is going to be positively impacted by that. It doesn't necessarily mean that, oh, they're going to come down from a 10 to a 5. But they might come down from a 10 to a 9.5 or a 10 to a 9, and someone else might come from a 10 to a 5. But because you have created that space by being intentional with how you're showing up in your chaotic everyday life, and you're showing a different way to have like a different relationship with it, everybody else takes notice. Like, oh, that's interesting. I don't have to be that way. And with many students, even with the younger ones, it takes a lot of practice and just a lot of time. And so you can just hang out in tree pose, or like I said, one of my favorites is just sometimes walking around the class. If I have a really busy, challenging class with a lot of students that are very busy, that can be a really big challenge for me personally, always wanting to keep myself in check, and I might just walk around. So I know, where am I at in my body right here, right now. So thank you for sharing that. Anybody else want to share before we, yeah, I have one more. I can't see names, so I would say your name, but
Mia.
there it is, Mia, okay.
I was just going to say a couple things. One, I always carry a lot of tension in my jaw, and I love the idea of putting the tongue
Yeah.
there. I've never done that.
Mhm.
So, yeah, I liked that. And then also just the idea, I think bringing it into your life, it's like that. The more you practice, the more you'll remember to do that. But then also just that permission. I think practicing like letting the thoughts go and going into the body, for me, it's almost like I'm giving myself permission to do that whenever. And
Yeah.
I don't know if that makes any sense, but like it just gets easier when you're feeling really stressed, like, oh, right, I can go into my body and feel my feet, or, and like that's an option.
It did, yeah. It does
And
make
then
sense.
yeah, and the last thing I just wanted to say was it reminded me of I can't remember the author, but there's a book called Sitting Still Like a Frog, and she has a meditation of imagining you're the spider in your mind and you just drop down on a thread into the belly, and then you're
Aw,
so
so cute.
thank you so much.
Yeah, I'm so happy you enjoyed the practice. And with the jaw, one of my challenges to everybody here, I'm a jaw gripper. Like when I'm stressed, I bite. And it's one that I constantly do throughout the day. Like, oh, what's happening here? If I feel tension here, you better betcha, you're gonna feel the tension everywhere else. And so if I can just bring the attention there to release the tension in my jaw and have that trickle down effect. And I appreciate, Mia, what you said about giving yourself permission, because a lot of times, that's just a habit we build. Like, oh, this is what I do when I'm stressed. This is how you're supposed to be. This is all I know. And yet I can feel stressed. I can be at a 9. I can be at an 8, but I don't have to be like at an 8 how I used to be like 5 years ago. It looks different. I have more, presence to what's happening. I can articulate, oh, I feel really stressed and this is what's going on and I need to do this. And many times I'll start narrating that to my students, like, oh, this is what I need to do. I feel so stressed out. I know it because my jaw is super tight. Oh, I can feel my heart is beating really fast. Whatever it is that I'm aware of, I can notice that and say, you know what? I don't have to be that way. Let's change that. And so when we do change that, we have that positive effect. Either it can be a small positive effect or a big one, but any shift that we can do. I can't remember who said this, but oftentimes we think like we have to take these big steps to go out and save the world, and really the world just starts right here with the time that we give ourselves to have that internal transformation. That's some of the most important work we can ever do. And so thank you all for being here tonight and giving yourselves permission to shift internally. And it's been awesome to be with you all. We made it. We're only 2 minutes over. So that reading was from Today's Gonna Be Awesome Sauce, Daily Meditations for Youth Parents and Families. And the card deck that I used was Today's Gonna Be Awesome Sauce too. This is the Earth card that I used. My students love, like every week I start with a new one. They're like, what's the art card? And what's the affirmation? And so it's a lot of fun. I work with metaphor a lot. So I really get them to think in really abstract terms at a young age, start to think about, what those things mean. And it's a lot of fun to see their little minds grow. Thank you all for being here. Anything you want to say, Tracy, as we close out?
Oh, I wanted to do a book giveaway and say,
oh yeah, the giveaway.
But so I saw your book is on Amazon. Are your art cards just available through your website then? Or
yeah, art cards I can't remember if the art cards are on Amazon. I may have put them up there before,
Okay.
but
I didn't actually look, but
they're definitely on my website. They're definitely on my website.
okay. Well, I did a random number generator, and I have Carrie Abbott Walk as our giveaway winner. So Carrie, I'm going to put a little form for you to get me your address.
Thank you.
Sure. And then the other link I put in there is if you're a member and working, or potentially maybe think in the future you'll work towards getting 24 CEUs or PDs or a graduate credit, then just do the attendance sign in here for a live event. But I just thank you so much, Athea, and I would love to have you on again. I know we originally had a series planned for you, and so I think we definitely need to do that in the future.
Well, thank you, Tracy. I definitely gained some energy. Like I said, I was concerned just because it's been an exhausting school year so far, and I know we just got started. But I feel so much better, and like my stress level definitely has lessened, and it's been great to be here with you all. If you all listen to podcasts, make sure to check out Mindful Living with Athea Davis. I have a podcast, interview lots of great people, and also talk about many different topics, solo style. So definitely check that out. And if you guys are on social media, follow me at Athea Davis. I'm on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, all the places and spaces. So I like to share content related to mindfulness in schools and just mindful living in general. So I'd love to have you guys as friends.
I must say I've gotten a little addicted to like checking in with you each day, because I have to go on for other reasons. I'm like, you have a way with words and getting our vibes up. I don't know, you always, so I thank you because I know that takes time to do that. And so I appreciate that.
Thank you.